First of all, hello. And I think rather obviously, many of you will know this is my second time ever preaching. So can I have lots and lots of smiles, please? I'm so nervous. Lots of nods, lots of smiles. Thank you very much. Okay, right. Today marks week number 4 of our series looking at people transformed by Jesus. And today we'll be looking at Zacchaeus. I think we've got a little sign. We do, there he is. Well, not him, but personally I thought this was the easiest and most well-known of all the people that Jesus transformed. That's why I agreed to do it. So it's the blueprint of a transformation. Zacchaeus was one way, met Jesus, and he was completely different. It's beautiful, right? But in order to tell this story in a bit more of an engaging way, since this is a family service, I've decided to do a little messy drama. And this is where people will no longer like me, because I'm going to ask for a volunteer to be Zacchaeus. And I heard Dave really wanted to. Surprise! So, hello Dave. And I'll also need a tree. So I heard Malcolm was also going to help me out. There's your lines. So I'll cue you in when to say them. There's your lines.
Oh, I get lines for a tree.
You get lines for a tree. Oh yes, you'll be able to share. So Malcolm, can I ask you to go in the pulpit? And you can go nice and tall because you're a tree. I'll narrate. I've got a wee surprise for Jesus, and you all have a part to play as well. You are all the crowd. You only have one line. It's very easy. Whenever I say Zacchaeus, you boo. So, and Dave, whenever you hear Zacchaeus, wave to the crowd. So we'll do a wee test. So, Zacchaeus. Boo. Amazing. Thank you very much. Right, let's see if the surprise has his cue. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. There you go. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. Zacchaeus wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short and he could not see over the crowd, so Zacchaeus ran ahead and climbed the sycamore tree. And then just hand the mic to Malcolm because he's got his line. Amazing, thank you. Since Jesus was coming that way, when Jesus reached the spot, he looked up at him and said,
Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today.
So he came down gladly to meet him. All the people saw this and began to mutter, he has gone to be the guest of a sinner. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord,
Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount.
Jesus said to him,
Today, salvation has come to this house, because this man too is the son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost.
And scene. Thank you to my amazing volunteers. I'm very sorry, but no more volunteers, I promise. You're all done. You can sit back down. Didn't they do such an incredible job? Thank you again. Okay, so we now move on to the digging deeper bit after we've heard the amazing story of Zacchaeus. So to any children there's someone in a blue t-shirt who's got some things for you to do, and we'll find out what you all got up to a bit later. So, there are many things we can unpack from the story of Zacchaeus, despite it being a short passage. There's things that we can apply to our own lives. For example, I firstly want to touch on Jesus' actions and why they were so special. Shock, what Jesus did was special. Zacchaeus was a tax collector. It was a job title that brought a great deal of resentment from everyone around him. He was collecting money of his people to give to a foreign and oppressive power, that being the Romans. He grew rich and wealthy from the struggle of his peers. I mean, it doesn't sound something like I'd be very proud to do. There are many jobs today that people look down for being immoral in some people's views. For example, you've got insurance companies, lawyers. I'm studying law for people who don't know. But despite the stigma, any of Zacchaeus' sin, standing, or situation, and Jesus met with him. And the people were shocked, weren't they? As it said, he has gone to be the guest of a sinner. We see it all throughout the Bible. Jesus was a friend to sinners. He did not care for his reputation with the crowd. He want nothing to do with Zacchaeus. He would as well shunned him, not spoken to him, treat him poorly. Of course he didn't. Jesus did not care for man's reputation. What he did care for was man. Jesus tells us he came for the lost, and he sought Zacchaeus out. He called him by name, just as he does with you. He seeks you out, and he calls you by name. So one of the questions that this passage raises is, do we answer? Here is the all-loving God, Jesus, calling you, asking if he could be with you. Will you invite him into your home? Will you invite him into your situation, your life, and every aspect of yourself? But also, it raises the question, are we being like Jesus? As followers of Jesus, we are called. Oh, we've gone out. Am I okay? No? We're off? I didn't pass anything. Are we moving?
You got another battery pack?
No? Handheld?
Give me a battery pack.
There we go. Talk amongst yourselves.
We'll edit this bit out the video, will we? Which one? Green, Jack.
Here we are.
Dick.
Not charge these before we go. Right. There we are. We're back. No longer talk amongst yourselves. One louder. We're adjusted. We're all good? Amazing. Right. Okay. So, as I was saying, we are called to be like Jesus as best we can. So, are we being friends to sinners? Do we care for the reputation of the world, or do we care for the one that made it? What if we were known to be friends of sinners? Reaching out our hands to the lost and to the broken, to the rich and to the poor, for the criminal and to the outcast. What if we met that shady lawyer or the person that was in the dodgy insurance company? How would we act? Would we be like Jesus, show only kindness? Because Jesus didn't judge him. I don't know if you noticed this. I certainly didn't the first time I read it. But Jesus didn't teach him, tell him his actions were wrong, even in a nice way. He only showed love, and often that can be more than enough. Or would we be like the crowd and the rest of the world? As I said, Jesus calls us to be different. We read in Romans 12, verse 2, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." So, another question I want to ask is, will we be different? And are we being different to all people? I want to move on to what Zacchaeus did now. Because while Zacchaeus wasn't a great teacher of legions, we don't read about his incredible miracles that he did, or his amazing walking on water, nothing like that. We do read about something I do find absolutely incredible. While humble, it was amazing. It's something that we could study and we should apply to our own lives. As I've said, Zacchaeus was a wealthy man. It would have been far, far below his standing to climb a tree. People would have thought he was being a fool. They would have mocked him. Zacchaeus would have 100% known this, and he did it anyway. He did it because there was someone he wanted to see. Someone he probably heard a whole lot about. Things like heretic, lunatic, magician, con artist, cult leader. But you've probably heard some other things, like healer, teacher, miracle worker, Son of God. Zacchaeus was willing to be mocked just to see Jesus. Are we willing to be also? This is something I definitely need to work on. I really struggle with embarrassment. I get nervous way too easy. I hate public speaking. And it takes a lot for me to stand here and do this because I always feel like I'm going to make a fool of myself. I should care for what Jesus thinks, not for what other people think. As we read, Jesus rejoiced in it. While everyone thought Zacchaeus was a fool, Jesus rejoiced in it, met with him. So let's care about what Jesus thinks and not for the mocks and for the prods of the world that will 100% sadly come. Another thing I found very interesting while I was studying this passage was the inclusion of stating what kind of tree Zacchaeus climbed. I mean, what is the point? Why did Luke not just say, so Zacchaeus climbed a tree? I don't know if he was a big fan of plants, things that grow, maybe a gardener. And it was a little inclusion for anyone else that maybe shared his interest. And for any of those budding gardeners or botanists out there, it was actually his sycamore tree. I didn't buy it, so I decided to Google it, or as my mum calls it, goggle. As that's the best place I thought I could find it. And a sycamore tree actually does represent something. It said that a sycamore tree represents seeking out a divine encounter, as well as the connection between man and God, the people to the land, strong faith and abundance, regeneration, people being reborn and given a new name. It sounds quite familiar, doesn't it? Jesus made a way for us to have a connection on the cross. He gives us a new name and allows us to be reborn. He gives us a home with him in heaven, and he gives us all freely. As I draw to more of a conclusion, I want to ask, why did Zacchaeus climb the tree? It's an obvious answer. It's because he was small. He could not see past the crowds. Zacchaeus had to push past the obstacles of the crowd to meet Jesus. And he had to push past his own limitations and things that get in the way. Are we also pushing to meet Jesus? Are we trying our best to meet with him? Are we overcoming the obstacles in our lives that get in the way? For Zacchaeus, this was a physical thing, his height and the crowd. But for us today, do our hobbies take time away from spending with Jesus? Does our work life cause us to forget? Does the busyness of the life and our social aspects, wanting to meet with people, make us forget about meeting with Jesus? Do we need to climb that sycamore tree and seek out that divine encounter so that we can look over the crowds and meet with Jesus? Look over the crowds and the obstacles that get in the way. And when Zacchaeus overcame these obstacles, again, he wasn't taught, he wasn't told of his sins. He fell before Jesus and he said, Jesus, I need to change. Do we need to change? Are there things that we need to change. Routines, habits, things that we do that we know are wrong, but we keep doing them. Or are there things that we need to change, like things we could be doing more of? Like Zacchaeus, do we need to give more? Do we need to make amends with some people? Do we need to show more love? Do we need to be a bit more like Jesus? Do we need to change our habits that cause us to spend time away from Jesus? Do we need to change the amount of time we're spending with him? Change the obstacles? Do we need to fall before Jesus and say, Lord, I need to change? And are we allowing Jesus to transform every aspect of our lives and not just the ones that we want to change? For Zacchaeus, his whole life to change. But for yours now, if you're like me, yes, I am a follower of Jesus. Yes, I have been given a new name. But there are things like my attitude, like my fear of embarrassment, like obstacles that I need to remove, that I need to change. I need to fall before Jesus and say, Jesus, I need to change. And change can be a very difficult thing. It's incredibly hard. But Jesus is with us every single step of the way. There's a verse that I think really helps here. Happens to be my favorite one. It's Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. My prayer is that I could be a little bit more like Zacchaeus. And my final question is, what's your prayer this Sunday morning? Do you need some change? Do you need to remove some obstacles? Do you need to climb a sycamore tree? There's going to be an opportunity for a response as we sing this next song. So I'm going to ask for the team to maybe come up, and John and Anne to come down to the front as well. So as we sing this next song, there'll be people here to pray with you if you need to seek change or to maybe get some prayer for some obstacles to be removed. And well, thank you all for listening to me. I hope I did all right. Thank you.